Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante, bringing you truth and justice underneath Wayne Manor, somewhere in the outskirts of Gotham. So I talk a lot about crypto on the show, and I'm a big advocate for it. And I'm not a financial expert. I'm not giving you financial advice. My recommendation is, if you can afford it, buy some Bitcoin. And why this is important is because the prices are just going to keep going up. Yes, they can be manipulated. So can the stock market. The stock market is way more scammed and vulnerable to manipulation than crypto. Crypto still can be. But I think I just want to go through this article with you. So, about 50% of surveyed crypto owners made their first buy in 2021. This is good for a lot of reasons. What adoption is going to be the key driver? Obviously, institutional money coming in obviously helps. These big hedge funds and investment, are putting in tens of millions of dollars, in some cases hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars. That drives the market up. But this is the single greatest opportunity for regular people to become wealthy. You don't need to know somebody on insider trading. And it's Bitcoin specifically. You can study these other altcoins and stuff like that, but Bitcoin, the more you can amass of it, even if you buy small amounts, do dollar cost averaging, which means just buy a set amount every day, or every week, every month, whatever, $25 a week, $50 a month, whatever you can afford. You can buy as little as $10 in Bitcoin. Just start to amass amounts of it. But this is significant because the more people that just use Bitcoin on a daily basis, we saw El Salvador went online in 2021. In September is when the whole country adopted it. So, this was a survey commissioned by crypto exchange Gemini. Specifically, some 50% of crypto asset owners from the US, Latin America, and the Asia Pacific region bought their very first crypto in 2021, the report found. That's good. It gets people more. If you go back to my crypto playlist and watch my interview with Max Kaiser and Stacy Herbert, Max said, Bitcoin will become the world's reserve currency. It's going to happen. And other people have said that too. Michael Saylor has said that. Raoul Paul has said that. Other people have said that. So it's why you want to get involved in it and learn as much about it as you can. I always recommend the bitcoin.com YouTube channel has a Bitcoin 101 playlist, and learn about it. You're not too late. You can buy as little as $10 a Bitcoin. You don't have to buy whatever it's trading at today. It's trading at 46,000. It's not like a stock where you need to buy one share at $46,000. That's not how it works. You can buy a small percentage. You can buy $10. So, this opinion poll was carried out between November 21 and last February, collecting answers from close to 30,000 persons from some 20 countries. In terms of crypto adoption, Brazil and Indonesia took the top 2 spots in the world last year, with as many as 41% of the surveyed in each country declaring they owned crypto. The 2 states demonstrated a crypto adoption rate more than twice as high as the ones reported for the population of the UK and the US, and with 18% and 20% respectively. That's one of the things I like about Bitcoin. And when we first started talking about it on the show, when we had Rosie Tran on 2 years ago to first tell us about Bitcoin, it is pulling people out of poverty in third world countries. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 to 3 billion people in this world that are unbanked. They don't have access to traditional banking, but they all have a smartphone. That's significant. So they're buying and selling and using products with Bitcoin, and it goes up in value, and they're increasing their wealth. Max Kaiser said he's helped, I can't even remember the number of people, hundreds of thousands of people, it sounds like, become millionaires with Bitcoin because he got involved in it over 10 years ago. So it's because we know this, the central banks, they want you working a crappy job. They want you in debt and working just enough to pay off the minimum payment. So you're paying exorbitant interest. They want you to have high interest credit card debt. They want you to do that. They want you to just shop and buy crap you don't need and put it on a credit card. And that's what they want you to do. And Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation, right? So this is important to talk about. Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation because I've talked about this before. And Bitcoin currently is trading at about $46,000 as of today, April 4th. It might go down a little bit, but over time, it's going to keep going up. So even if you bought some today at 46,000 and just held on to it, it's going to go up. Whereas if you put let's say you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin today, I'm just going to pick a round number. And eventually, maybe in the next 6 to 18 months, Bitcoin's going to make its way over to $100,000. So that means your $1,000 is going to more than double in that time, in that next 6 to 12 months, let's call it. It's going to be worth $2,000. If you put $1,000 in the bank, earning less than 1%, 0.5% interest or whatever, what is that going to pay? And more importantly, what is that $1,000 going to be worth? Because we're looking at inflation. Imagine if you would have bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin 2 years ago, right? When Bitcoin was at 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 or whatever, you would have, this is a good statistic too. They say the $1,200 stimulus check that we all got in the spring of 2020 when the pandemic first hit, like April, whatever, that $1,200 would be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000. If you put that $1,200 in a regular savings account, you might have 100, maybe $200 interest. And I think that's a high number, but it would be worth less because 2 years ago, gas wasn't in California. Gas is now $6 a gallon. I've seen it over $6, right? Food prices are 20 to 30% higher now. And we knew this was going to happen when people like Christy I came on our show and said all this money printing for stimulus. Now we've had MMT people on the show, and MMT people, some people are like, Graham, when you say money printing, you're shitting on the MMT people. No, I'm not. The MMT people, and again, I have an MMT playlist. Watch what the MMT people are saying is not just print money willy-nilly and go nuts. That's not what they're saying. They're saying this myth that, how are we going to pay for Medicare for all? Well, we can just print money and pay for it. Like we could print money for things we need, not Wall Street bailouts. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to make that distinction because I've had a lot of MMT people on this show, and they're really good at pointing out the deficit myth. They're good at pointing out how taxation is theft and all this stuff. So I just need to make that clarification. But we have been doing a lot of money printing, which does create inflation, right? And it's happening. And it wasn't just money for Americans to help them get through a pandemic. Again, all this money was given to Wall Street. It was the single greatest upward transference of wealth we've ever seen. 100 new billionaires were created in the middle of a pandemic. I didn't become a billionaire. You didn't, but they did. So this is why, again, Bitcoin specifically, and the altcoins are very different, and they're more risky and everything else. I own some altcoins. I'm not saying don't buy them. I'm saying really know what you're doing in the altcoin world. But Bitcoin is like digital gold. So I just needed to point that out. So let's go back to this. European respondents, 17% said they own cryptocurrencies last year, but only 7% of those who do not currently hold crypto declared they aim to purchase such assets at some point. The people who admitted to owning, 79% of them surveyed said they treated their allocations to crypto assets as long-term individual investments, according to the survey. That's good news. Because what that means is when Bitcoin finally starts taking off 100 grand or more, and it's going to keep going up, a lot of people are going to be, regular people are going to be wealthy. which is what they don't want. The central banks, they don't want to do this. That's why they've tried to stop Bitcoin and all this crypto regulation. But they say that publicly, but then behind closed doors, they're buying up as much Bitcoin as they possibly can because they know there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoins ever mined. No more. That's it. That's why when I say, that's what I mean by digital gold, right? There's only so much gold on the planet. You can print money, you can do everything else, print stock certificates, even the altcoins, but Bitcoin is, as Michael Saylor calls it, is the apex, the apex predator of investments. It's the apex investment. Investing in cryptocurrencies represents a hedge against the surging inflation, something I've talked about. With 64% of Indonesian and Indian respondents picking this response, this is going to pull people out of poverty. Third world countries are going to be transformed. That was the design. That was the design of Bitcoin. And I think what could really spike Bitcoin's price is we're already seeing Putin has said, if you want to buy Russian oil or Russian grains or products, you have to pay us in the ruble. He's demanding that. And some of these European countries are like, okay, even though America's like, you can't do that. And Europe's like, well, their oil's cheaper and it's closer. At some point, Putin might go, I don't know this. This is just a guess. He might say, okay, we're going to Bitcoin. We're going to Bitcoin. Now, we had Rachel Blevins on the show from Boom Bust that was shut down because America censors people. And we're not a free society because we don't have a free press. And she said, Putin was kind of going away from Bitcoin and regulating it, but now he might be leaning back into it. So that could change things. Who knows? The above means that a rising number of individual investors share the view presented last October by Nicholas, I can't pronounce that last name, and other researchers at Wall Street Investment Bank, JP Morgan. The bank's analysis highlighted the increasing embrace of Bitcoin by institutional investors as better inflation hedge than gold. So if the big institutional money is buying up Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation, you should do what they're doing. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. And what they do is buy Bitcoin. I mean, I could spend a whole video, I could spend an hour's worth of video showing you all these big CEOs and hedge fund managers from 3, 4, 5 years ago going, Bitcoin's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, who all in the last 12 to 24 months have been buying Bitcoin for their portfolios. All of them. Like all of them. So, any traditional Wall Street person that's still saying that is either so woefully misinformed or they're lying, which they're both capable of. Just because they have 3-piece suits and nice, stock portfolios doesn't mean they're necessarily smart. So, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. The hedge funds are buying it. The big banks are buying it. I guarantee you, I bet you Nancy Pelosi owns some. I bet you they do. I bet you Elizabeth Warren owns some. I bet you they do. So do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. Only invest what you can afford. But I'd put at least 5 to 10% of your assets into Bitcoin, even if it's just $100 or $200, and sit on it, because you'll thank me for it later. Thanks for watching. Shave your knuckles for justice. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. We are still in our 9th month of demonetization from YouTube. So support what we're doing at patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. It's free to sign up, and there's a premium level at $10 a month. And for that, you get everybody on the platform's premium content. Myself, Lee Camp, Ron Placone, Jimmy Dore, Whitney Webb, Kim Iverson, Abby Martin, and many, many others. You can also support what we're doing at Venmo at Graham-Elwood and go to grahamelwood.com. We have a PayPal button and a PO box. I also have crypto wallets, which are all in the show notes. Thanks for supporting what we do.